Previously on Sensitive Productions.
The season has yet to finish. It could surprise me for the worst, but I've enjoyed season 24 so far, and I am cautiously optimistic for what's to come.
Oh, Salsador. What a naive little fool. Hey, Salsador here. So, yeah. Family Guy Season 24, huh? Definitely not living up to what I was expecting, at least at the point in my last video. There's still 2 more episodes to come out, but at this point, I've seen enough. So, I'm gonna go through reviewing each of these episodes on their own, one by one, giving them a ranking 1 through 10. And then at the end, we're gonna rank all the episodes together to see which is the best, which is the worst, and just kind of talk about the mess that was this season. So, yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it, huh? Season 24, Episode 1, The Edible Arrangement, the episode that inspired my original video, because I saw a lot of controversial opinions online about it, a lot of weird feedback regarding how they handled the canon of the show, like it's Family Guy, just be happy they're acknowledging the past at all. But in general, this was a really great episode. I enjoyed the low-keyness of the premise, the down-to-earthness. This really felt like it could have been a sitcom episode, if you know what I mean, which is a tone Family Guy's been struggling to balance with recently, especially in this season. You'll see there's a huge dichotomy between these episodes that feel really grounded in reality and then just Family Guy's outlandish stuff, but this is a really strong start to the season. A dispensary opens in Quahog, and of course Brian is way too much of a fool off that za, so his gummies get taken away and locked up in the baby cabinet, where Stewie was going to get some Oreos, which is where he gets hooked on the Zaza. Everything with Stewie on a different level was really fun. The Pink Floyd sequence was really ambitious and fun, like the Wheels on the Bus rendition they did. I really enjoyed that. Him being the cool kid at school, again, funny stuff. Joe taking him from Lois. Cool in premise, but it's the usual Family Guy trying to waste the first half of the episode so they can get to the actual part they wanted to write, which was the second half, and it's just a lot of meh humor with Joe, but overall I didn't mind it because the Stewie stuff really does carry. However, when we do get to the titular moment of the episode, the moment that they marketed the premiere of season 24 off, Stewie and Lois finally talking and them getting high together, that was really fun. Every part about it, well, most parts about it was really cool. I liked how sincere their conversations actually were. Again, I really liked these first 2 episodes of Family Guy because it really felt like character-driven stories. Again, Stewie only spikes Lois's drink because he views her as really uptight and strict about these new rules, and he wants her to relax a little bit, which starts this whole journey in the first place. And you know what? It's nice to see the mom and the son have some fun together. It's nice to see them hit the town and have some laughs. It's nice to hear them gossip about Brian's crush and Peter's marriage and her marriage with Peter. You know what I meant. A really organic conversation. And again, them waking up and having brain fog and not being able to remember the night and losing the ability to communicate is a funny way to take them back to the status quo. So it all worked for me. I really enjoyed the episode. I liked the earnest place it was trying to come from. It still managed to be funny by playing with the characters, the situation they were in, and the setting they're in. So yes, The Edible Arrangement gets a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Way to start the season strong, guys. Season 24, Episode 2, Pumpkin Spice Girls. Yet again, we have another plot that is grounded in what you could call reality for Family Guy's universe. It's just fun. Lois and Meg get addicted to pumpkin spice. Then when it goes out of season, they go through withdrawal, and this spirals them down into a Breaking Bad-esque path. It was a really fun episode. Like the previous episode, this season also has like a psychedelic musical sequence. I really enjoy. Again, when I made my first YouTube video, I'd only seen this episode and the last episode, and I was really excited to see where they're going because of these 2 episodes that were grounded in character story, and also were experimenting with the more artsy moments of Family Guy. But the thing I enjoy the most is just seeing the dynamic of the family and how each other, stokes each other's fires. Like, Meg definitely brings out Lois's crazy. Am I not mistaken, or did Lois have that arc, like, where she used to be, like, a crazy shoplifter, and yeah, like, she used to have much more of a wild side, and it seems like that came out a lot more in this episode with Meg, inspiring her to get back into her young crazy self, breaking into the Starbucks, and being so okay with the extreme measures they go to cover their trail. And I know I mentioned earlier that there is a dichotomy between the episodes grounded in reality and those that go off the rails. And yeah, you know, Meg and Lois becoming like criminals and being chased by a whole police department because of pumpkin spice, that's a little off the rails, but we still got here through the because of consequential storytelling. You'll see, especially with next episode, it's great stuff. I really enjoyed it. It still does take about halfway through the episode for the actual plot to kick in, with a really good scene of Bonnie interrogating pretty much Lois in the grocery store and figuring out that she's the pumpkin spice thief. That's really when the ball gets rolling on this plot, but I very much enjoyed this episode. It was charming, it was fun, the Joe stuff was great as well. Bringing in Quagmire to be the neighborhood footprint detective, really funny stuff. A lot of the humor in this episode, again, is grounded in who these characters are, the situation they're in, and what they would do in this situation. I very much enjoyed it, and because of that, this is going to get the highest ranking so far. Pumpkin Spice Girls gets an 8 out of 10. Now, onto uncharted territory. Of course, right after I upload a video giving goodwill to the writing room of Family Guy, they come out with the most disjointed episode of Family Guy I've seen since corn-addicted Mark Twain. It starts off with the guys in the bar thinking they can find Osama bin Laden's corpse and have people pay them to hit it or something. I don't. So they go out looking for Osama bin Laden's corpse. Peter wishes it could just be guys. They get struck by lightning and they go to Fire Island, an island for just men, you could say. The B story is Stewie unlocks a new personality, which is decades old memes. Just really unfunny stuff. When Family Guy tries to be relevant, it really shows that there's like 2 or 3 years between when they actually write these episodes and when they actually get made. Like, there's also a lot of COVID jokes in this season. Not a lot like shoving down your throat, but there's enough gags that you notice that this probably was happening during the pandemic when they wrote it, because why are there COVID jokes in the big 2-6? Speaking of things that feel weird in 2026, I don't know what Fire Island is. I don't know if this is a show or a real place, but it is just really uncomfortable seeing there's no real humor, there's no real point for the guys to go here except for them to act a little fruity for half the episode and then make an escape. There literally was no point to this episode at all. This one really hurts my brain, okay? None of the jokes were funny. The setting, the last 2 episodes had story inspired by character, right? This episode, no, they get struck by lightning and they end up at a place and Stewie's just spewing out brain rot. The 10-year-old brain rot. The only funny joke in the whole episode was when Stewie finds out what his dad's up to and he makes the little reality meme that he wishes he was there. That's literally the only point in this entire episode that got a laugh out of me. The rest was really painfully unfunny to watch, or just, again, after those 2 episodes of really character-based jokes and grounded, Family Guy standards grounded reality episodes, this just felt so disconnected and unfunny and painful to get through. So yeah, I am giving Manfest Destiny a 3 out of 10, and hopefully this episode is not a sign for what's to come for the rest of this season, because yeah, way to follow up my video good faith, guys, goddamn. I know this show takes place in New England, but what is its obsession with Tom Brady? This guy's not played in years. I just remember his face throughout all of Family Guy's run. I couldn't tell you how many episodes he's been in, but I'm sure I'm putting a montage over my voice right now of him through the eras of Family Guy. Meg sells clam chowder where the Patriots play, and this somehow gets the guys in the room where Tom Brady is, which somehow gets Meg an in as the woman in his ear, giving him play-by-play words to actually say when he's on the air commentating the Patriots game. It's a very weird setup. It is nice to see Meg, have a skill and like be good at something, but for as far as your television show goes, this is really unfunny. And again, why on earth are you wasting time on Tom Brady in 2026? Is there a market for this? I know in the show it takes place in New England, but like, think about your audience. Do you think this is what they want you to commit a whole episode, like a whole screen time of an episode to? As annoying as the setup is, the payoff is as worse, if not more worse. Meg, after realizing Tom Brady's using her, the doy, gets him to propose to her on live TV, and he is committed to doing it because he's a man of his word. And then she decides to back out of it and to have her little, oh, I learned something, blah, 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 blah. It's just, what is going on? This isn't character work. This isn't funny. This is literally just a waste. It's such a waste because the B story is so funny. Brian and Stewie fall in love with IKEA. They decide to move into IKEA and then throw a party in the store, and it falls apart because, the toilets don't work, the ovens, nothing works in IKEA. It's all just for show, just like them hosting the party in the first place. The extents they go, the drastic measures they take is so good. It's so funny. They carry the episode despite how little screen time they get, and despite how absolutely annoying I found the main story with Meg and Tom Brady. Bringing Up Brady is still going to get a 6 out of 10 for me because I got so much laughs from Brian and Stewie's shenanigans. I wish Family Guy would hone into that dynamic of the characters more, rather than just going, hey, it's a celebrity, let alone one that's relevant and that you might care about. But these little celebrity episodes, they're not very amusing. Thankfully, Brian and Stewie carry, though. Anyway, next! Okay, now this, Dear Francis, is a back-to-form, strong, modern episode of Family Guy, okay? There is a new waitress at the Drunken Clam named Francis. All the guys are very smitten with her. Peter says her name during relations, but that is also the name of his dead father, which just leads to a really funny, grounded, in-the-family-based sitcom plot where Peter goes to therapy to try to make it up to Lois, to explore his relationship with his dead father, and it just leads to funny shenanigans within the family. In my original video about season 24, I said something along the lines of, Peter seems really like an afterthought. I kind of get the feeling that the writer room doesn't know who he is as a person. I'm interested to see if he gets an episode about his relationship with one of his kids down the line. And shout out that guy, because Peter does end up spending time with his kids one-on-one as advised by his therapist, which of course he only goes through with because he's trying to hide the fact from Lois that the real reason he said Francis was because there's a new hot waitress at the bar and not because of some weird psychological issue with his dead father. Also, this episode is no B story. No B story. It is very grounded in consequential scene-by-scene storytelling of Peter's whole journey of covering up this lie. It's slowly getting revealed because Lois is so proud of him for the progress he's making with his journey with his dead father and all the time he's been spending with his kids. So they all go to the clam as a family, and then that's when it's revealed. But I was very surprised and happy with the fact that it was a grounded episode. There wasn't a lot of cutaway gags, and it really followed this consequential style of storytelling. Because there's only one storyline, I really don't have too much to say or recap about this. It really was just a simple story about the family. I don't want to spoil too much of the gags, but I really enjoyed the dynamics of the family. I enjoyed the humor. I enjoyed the grounded plot. The stakes feel very real. Peter's intense nervousness and commitment to the lie is completely understandable because, yeah, who wouldn't be terrified of their wife if something like that happened to them? Very good stuff. Lois forgiving Peter at the end only to reveal how her and her crew of ladies dealt with the problem is also really funny. This is my favorite episode of the season. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Viewer DMs, a spiritual successor to the viewer mail episodes of Days of Yonder. I was happy to see the premise come back. I was happy to see Brian and Stewie looking so dapper on my screen, but what we ended up getting was, well, take it away past Salsador. Probably gonna do one where they retell a movie and it's boring and I hate it, Yep, guess what? They started off with a uninspired Lord of the Rings riff, and thankfully it's an anthology episode, meaning this wasn't the entire episode, but also at the same time, because it was only a third of the episode, even less room for humor is in this format of just we're gonna briefly skim over the plot of an hour, like a 2-hour movie in 22 minutes, let alone a third of that. So yeah, really, the others weren't movies, but this really put a sour taste in my mouth for the rest of the skits, which also weren't that funny. The second skit is a riff on the Oregon Trail, the Quahog Trail, something like that. Again, also uninspired, not funny. The many Megs to sacrifice joke was funny when they used them to make a raft to get down the river. That did get a chuckle, but besides that, again, nothing from this setting or storytelling really got any laughs from me. The Glenn Quagmire Giggity Hour, which was the last skit, also wasn't really that funny, though it was nice to see them give Quagmire like the what if he got a Quagmire, the Cleveland show spin-off for himself. That was a fun premise to see, but also it just kind of wasn't funny because he was just making bad meta jokes the whole time. So it was disappointing to see viewer mail turn into this, because I remember viewer mail being really funny. Off the dome, I can remember the episode where Peter gets a genie and he wishes for theme music, which annoys the guy in the bus, so he turns himself into bones, and that being a really funny subsection of an episode for an anthology version of Family Guy to have, as well as the one where they get superpowers, where the nuclear waste gives them all superpowers, and Stewie's a little big-brained guy with psychic powers. Peter turns into a T-Rex and stuff. Like, that was really funny use of a premise of an anthology series of do whatever you want, have fun with it. You can destroy your world in the dumbest way and blame it on the fans who requested it. Like, very easy premise to do, and instead they used it to smush together a bunch of the bad episodes that they could have made full length, which I do appreciate, but at the same time I wanted more from the premise. So because of that, viewer DMs is going to get a 4 out of 10 from me. I was disappointed to see this from viewer DMs. I expected more, but anyway, I won't keep rambling. On to the next episode. Season 24, Episode 7, Scent of a Woman. A pretty wholesome story that's pretty grounded in the reality of just Brian and Meg doing some fun stuff together. Due to a combination of Brian's dog nose, the ability for dogs to smell illnesses like cancer, and, him being a creep, he falsely accuses Meg of having breast cancer, which leads them down this little bucket list journey. It was really fun to see them bond and spend some quality time together where one of them's not the other one's hostage. But Brian does eventually become Meg's metaphoric hostage, because she does find out that she doesn't have cancer, and she keeps going on the trip anyway because she enjoys actually feeling seen for once, and they have a little emotional resolution about it. Yeah, but it was wholesome stuff. It was very grounded. I liked that portion of it. However, the B story. Peter and Lois play Truth or Dare, and Peter asks how many partners she's had in her life, and it just creates this uncomfortable tension. And I'm conflicted about this, because I do like that this is, grounded. This is just a conflict between them in their marriage. But I don't like when Family Guy leans into the cuck angle for their male characters, whether it's Peter or Joe. It never really is funny to me. It just kind of feels awkward, and it doesn't feel like good TV. But for the most part, this whole episode did a really good job of staying grounded in these characters, creating conflict based off of their relationships with each other. And if every episode in the season was like this, I would come out of this season with a very positive review. So even though I'm not too enthusiastic about the episode as a whole, Scent of a Woman gets a 7 out of 10 for me. It's inoffensive, it's grounded in Family Guy reality, and yeah, it got laughs, it got chuckles. Next episode. Well, they had to do it. Family Guy has this trend of just wrapping up some short stories that are royalty free and recapping them in an episode. And to give Playtime some credit, I did enjoy that in-world diegetically. It's the family actually putting on these shows, trying to save the town of Quahog, rather than just like Peter talking to the camera about it and then just telling us the stories for no actual reason. Like, the stories are happening for a reason, because they're trying to save the theater and the world. So I liked the fact that it was grounded. Take a shot for how many times I said grounded in this video, by the way. But compared to the episodes of past that tried to use this premise, I like what Playtime did with it. That being said, the actual plays weren't that good. I honestly can't even remember. I know they did To Kill a Mockingbird, because I liked the jokes with the physical mockingbird that was there, but I literally can't remember any of the other actual shows they did. I remember the Joe trying to intentionally sabotage the set so he could get more paraplegics for his murderball team. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff of this episode got a lot of laughs out of me, and how they played with the setting of the theater and, you know, yelling at the crowd, people on their phones in the crowd. All those jokes really worked for me. You know, considering it is a format I don't like, just telling stories people already know or maybe don't know, but not really adding anything to say about it. I don't like the format, but I like what they did with it. So, with all that being said, Playtime will get a passing grade, a 6.5 out of 10 from me, Judge Salsador, the snobby theater critic. Anyway, next! Phony goddamn Montana. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we finally did it. We found a worse episode than Corn Addicted Mark Twain. This is such a painfully unfunny, just what a terrible episode of TV. Let's walk through it, okay? Well, let's walk through it. Brian gets a love story. Yay! He's smitten by a Cuban girl that he meets trying to be political at a rally, and it's going well until one goddamn night in Havana Club gives him the worst, most offensive, chalk on, nails on chalk. Just listen to it. Listen to how Brian sounds, please.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Just give it a little spice, okay?
And this is the entire episode, mind you. He hides it from the girl, go figure, because it'll offend her, and eventually he does in front of the girl, and it offends her, and the rest of the episode is him just spewing nonsense in this awful voice. I genuinely don't know what happens in this episode, because I dissociate when I hear Brian talk like this. And, like, do you remember when Brian's love stories used to be, like, wholesome, and, like, good, and, like, Brian was a person with a soul, instead of whatever this is? And why did he have the voice in the first place? Did he inhale too much smoke? There was the loud music in his ears. It changed something. The whole thing just felt dumb, stupid, pointless. It hurt my brain. I literally... And the B story isn't any better. Peter and Lois hang out with the swinger couple, and that they don't want to swing with them, and they get really insecure about it, and it's just cringy. And I don't know why so many of Peter and Lois's storylines this season have been so sexual. The Truth or Dare stuff with past partners, the man island, I don't know, the whole thing. I didn't like any part of this episode, A story or B story. Pain and misery and misery and pain. 1 out of 10. Ew. Next. A Few More Ways to Die in the West, what I thought was going to be a spiritual successor to Seth MacFarlane's movie A Million Ways to Die in the West, ended up being if the Road to Quahog stuff from viewer DMs turned out to be the entire episode instead of a third of the episode, which is really unfortunate because the intro of this episode got me really excited. Between what I thought was going to be the special event episode with this like movie homage and the Road to style intro that they began with, I got really excited just for it to turn out to be, you know, a pretty boring Family Guy story. In this funky Wild West setting, Peter and his friends get some money stolen from them by, surprise, Lois, but it's not until a whole episode of a love story between Peter and Lois that they find out that reveal, and they do the... It's the exact same as, do you remember the Christmas special, the Hallmark Christmas special they did? I don't like when Family Guy does these little time pieces of, oh, we're going to put our characters in a different setting, we're going to tell the story of them in this setting, but it's just a love story between Peter and Lois playing characters when the relationship is not, like, how many times have we seen pretend versions of Peter and Lois have good relationships compared to where they actually sit in the real relationships? I don't like seeing that. So yeah, they waste about half the episode with Peter and Lois falling in love. Brian and Stewie are there too. There's some traveling improv comedians or something. They eventually get put on the Gold Rush. They're not even, they have no story. They're there just to cut to them doing bits, and so they can blow up a cliff at the end to save the day for our heroes. Yeah, it's very disjointed episode. There was a few timely gags that did make me laugh, but for the most part, I walked out of this episode very disappointed in it because I made the mistake of going in with expectations for it. And also for an episode called A Few More Ways to Die in the West, only killing anybody by dropping rocks on them, pretty lame, guys. Come on, what was the point of this episode? The best part of this episode was the opening credits. And that's on me, again, for having expectations for it, but this episode is not remarkable by any sense of the word. It's not bad either, it's perfectly average, so for that, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Next. Oh, Stewie, what a breath of fresh air. Okay, we're back to a grounded story. Ironic because Brian and Stewie are doing everything they can to get off the ground at this time. But a story centered around Brian and Stewie and Peter and Lois as the A and B stories. Stewie goes to a party, a costume party, and he wears stilts for his costume, and he gets really addicted to the feeling of being tall and how much people like him. So him and Brian get into this compensation contest, and they get caught up in a lie. You know, people find them attractive. They go on this fitness thing with models. They have a whole catharsis, and but I very much enjoyed seeing Brian and Stewie get an A plot for themselves, during bringing up Brady. I really liked their stuff like it, but I wish we saw more of them, and this episode felt like that, even though they were doing kind of, not the most amusing things. They're not going on a time travel heist. They're not going to a different country. They're not doing a road to anything. It was just nice to see them be people with emotions and insecurities and seeing that clash in just a grounded setting. Story follows Peter, who is feeling unappreciated in his marriage after Lois belittles him when they go shopping. So he creates a Tinder profile for himself, or a dating app profile. I can't remember if it's Tinder, but he finds Lois on it, and it's another episode about the cuck angle. It wasn't funny. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. And the catharsis at the end was Peter and Lois should compliment each other more, appreciate it more. That stuff's good. That stuff's grounded. That's like, I appreciate that as trying to stay within your characters, but can we please come up with something different for Peter and Lois to do than have problems in their marriage, especially sexual problems? And it's becoming repetitive in this season, and I'm not getting much enjoyment from it. Although I did enjoy the episode, I did get laughs from Brian and Stewie's dynamic and them trying to constantly one-up each other, and I liked their catharsis at the end with Brian being insecure that he is done growing and he gets to watch Stewie grow up and grow old, and good stuff. This is on par with Scent of a Woman for me. I think this is 100% a good blueprint for Modern Family Guy. 7 out of 10. Next episode. Lower G.I. Joe, another funny, grounded episode, this time centered on Peter and his group of friends. As middle-aged men, they're all lined up for a colonoscopy soon. And you see how much better of a premise that is than sexual frustrations in relationship, just like middle-aged men having to do middle-aged men things. Anyway, I digress. All the boys go to a cabin together to prep mentally to get a colonoscopies together, like to get rid of each other's fears and stuff. That stuff was really funny. I enjoyed that. When they all get their colonoscopies, it's revealed that Peter had a $100,000 G.I. Joe figure stuck right up his butt. And then the boys start to fight over each other about what they should do. The boys think they're entitled to shares of the money because they helped Peter build up the courage to get his colonoscopy. And Peter wants all the money because absolute power and greed corrupts absolute yada yada yada. Money corrupts. You get it. It goes how you'd expect. Peter realizes that he misses his friends, and when the auction that's going to make him rich is about to go through and, be the symbolic dagger for his friendship with Joe, Quagmire, and Cleveland, he decides to re-swallow the action figure because no money is worth his friendship. Cute, wholesome stuff, In the B story is Brian chaperoning Stewie to a cat cafe where he viciously murders one of the cats, who turns out to be Mayor West's cat. So then Brian is on like this big paranoid. Him and Stewie are doing everything they can to cover up Brian's tracks as now a not convicted, but as a feline murderer. They find a replacement cat. They bring it back to Mayor West. Mayor West is like, oh, that's not my cat. I have my cat here. That's not a good Mayor West impression. Let me try a good Mayor West.
You see, I train my cats to play dead when they think their life's in danger.
So yeah, Brian isn't a convicted feline murderer, but Mayor West does call him a bad boy over and over again, and that is like torture to him, and that was really funny and a nice way to end the episode. So yeah, good, grounded stuff. No complaints at all. Very strong episode of Family Guy, and I like that we got away from the cuck angle and the sexual angle of Peter and Lois's relationship. Let's go, guys! 8 out of 10. Onward we go. Friend's best man. Yet again, another Brian Stewie story. Yet again, another grounded premise for the episode. Stewie is getting married to Rupert, and now that I say that out loud, a baby proposing to a bear doesn't sound that grounded. But again, Family Guy logic, that's pretty grounded for a premise of your episode. And the episode follows, the whole wedding plan. Stewie puts Brian through the ringer in wedding preparations. Brian finds out he's not going to be Stewie's best man. Chris is. This makes him really upset. He doesn't end up going to the wedding. Chris convinces him to end up going to the wedding, but it doesn't matter because Stewie calls the wedding off because he thinks getting married is just like being best buds and like being best friends and just you get to hang out and live with each other forever. He has no idea what like actually getting married is in romance, and he's a baby. He has no idea what being married actually is. He just thinks it means infinite sleepovers. So it's a cute little bondage with them at the end where it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I you're making me jealous, but you just want to like hang on. It was a funny misunderstanding. It was a great carry for the episode. The B story is Peter and Lois make a sex tape. Yay, more sex stuff with Peter and Lois. However, my issues with sexual themes in Family Guy, especially with Peter and Lois, isn't that it happens. Like again in Dear Francis, it wasn't the crux of the conflict of that story. It was the miscommunication that just occurred during it. But other episodes where the entire premise of the episode is that Peter and Lois' sex life doesn't work, I don't like that. But anyway, this isn't that. This episode, they make a sex tape, and they just think they look gross. And Peter's an idiot, and he uploads it to YouTube. But it ends up going like viral, and they get good reception for it, and they think people like them, but then they realize they're getting recognition for like body positivity, which makes them feel worse about themselves. But at the end of the day, they still think each other are beautiful, and they make up. Yeah, it was pretty average Peter and Lois stuff, honestly. But Brian and Stewie are the heart of the episode, 10,000%, and it's also a fun payoff to the years of Stewie like being in love with Rupert, and until it's revealed that he's doing this to make Brian jealous because he doesn't know what being married at. Yeah, it was nice to be under the illusion that Stewie's actually finally progressing with Rupert in his relationship, if that makes sense. Perfectly solid episode of Family Guy. Love the grounded nature. Love the conflicts within the B story, fine, whatever, but the Brian and Stewie stuff, always good. I will give it a 7 out of 10. Let the good times walk. Peter gets a saxophone, becomes addicted to playing Careless Whisper, because what else would you do with a saxophone? And it drives Joe crazy. So Joe takes some Quagmire sleeping pills, and in it, the Rick and Morty episode with the Nightwalkers, that pretty much happens to Joe, where he gets this version of him that comes alive when he's asleep, except he's really cool and goes by Joey Goodtimes, and everybody loves Joey Goodtimes, so they want Joe to just keep sleeping all of the time. If you remember the episode where Joe got like a leg transplant, this is kind of like that, except with instead of Joe having a new group of friends and the friend group slowly realizing they need to bring him back down to earth because they missed the little wheelchair buddy to make fun of, he stays with the group of friends and slowly just out-parties them and becomes too much for them. So they decide to reel him back into being the wheelchair punching bag buddy. But instead of, going to break his kneecaps, they do it in a heartfelt way by appealing to him in ways they only know that the non-cool Joe would know, like fun facts about like Storage Wars or whatever. And though they spend way longer than they should on Peter having a saxophone, there's no B story in this episode. They really just do focus on Sleepy Joe, Joey Goodtime, and all the different interactions he has with the people in the town, with Bonnie, and their rejuvenated marriage because of it, and again, his rise and fall in the hierarchy of the Drunken Clam friend group. I did really like the episode. I liked the grounded nature of it. I liked the dynamics within everybody, but I don't like when Family Guy's moral of the story of their episode is somebody needs to be the punching bag, and you are the punching bag. So no matter what, we are going to drag you down to earth and make you the punching bag. I just don't like that as a message. I wish they wouldn't stoop to that, but I still liked the episode as a whole. It would get a 7 out of 10, but because I didn't really like the messaging, it's gonna get a 6.5 out of 10. Let's hope the season finale finishes strong. Are you kidding me? Are you goddamn kidding me? We had viewer DMs, okay, 3 little one-off stories, but like, you know what? You got the movie parody, you did some weird Oregon Trail thing, and then you gave Quagmire's little spin-off. I didn't mind that, okay? I was fine with that. You gave us Playtime, okay? In the same season, 3 more little short stories, books, and, you know, stuff, old pop culture referencey stuff we should all know. You spent a whole episode recapping 3 little stories. But I liked it because it was on the theater, because they were interacting with the audience, because they weren't just talking to the camera and reading stories to the audience. And for your season finale, for the last episode of season 24, high school history? Just a little brush through some history books. That's what we've decided is peak content. I can't. I have no words. I have no words but disappointment. Did this episode even exist? What happened in it? I don't know. Stewie was dressed like the Mustache Man. I don't know if I can say his name on YouTube. What? Why? 3 episodes in one season that have these 3-part little compilation storytelling, 3 of them in one season. I'm in shock. I'm in awe. And you saved the goddamn worst for last because you're not doing anything fun with it. You're not bringing back an old format. You're not changing up the format. No, you went back to the same damn thing, which is a character talking to the camera, and then the characters playing characters, just acting a thing out. There's no conflict. There's no actual... This isn't Peter. This is, Roosevelt or Lincoln or whoever he's playing. I can't. Do you see how much these episodes pain my soul? Do you see how much they take from me? Show us interplay between your characters. Don't just tell us things we already know. 2 out of 10. Because it is better than Phony Montana. Because it doesn't make me want to rip my ears off. But alas, thus concludes Family Guy Season 24. Okay, I know that last episode ended really negatively, but I did enjoy this season, okay? I think when the season's at its best, episodes like Dear Francis, like The Edible Arrangement, like Tall Stewie, that it really strikes that sitcom energy that you would hope from the show. That was, a rip-off of The Simpsons, which is a rip-off of all the live-action sitcoms. You want the family to feel like a family, and you want the plot to be about the family doing things or the characters interacting with each other. And there 100% is a huge dichotomy in this season between the episodes where it is 100% centered on the family and where it's not centered on the family at all. It's centered on whatever skit or bit or show that the writers are trying to put on using the family as its characters. Okay, let's talk about a few more ways to tie in the West. Pretty much the whole point of it is just to see Peter and Lois having a love story and going on this wild, wacky adventure where they're running from danger and they love each other and action, your classic action beats with Peter and Lois. Do you remember North by North Quahog, I think it was called, where Mel Gibson's hunting them down and they went on an adventure, but it was actually Peter and Lois, not versions of Peter and Lois? That's what I feel like Family Guy's missing, especially in this season, especially with how much they lingered on the sexual themes of Peter and Lois's relationship. There's a lot of episodes based off sex, insecurities about sex. Pretty much half
of Peter and Lois' stories in the season, if not more, were centered on that. And I just wish we could see them get up to more stuff. Like an episode of them taking edibles, going to the aquarium, and getting lost in the aquarium. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather that, and you explore those characters having fun with each other rather than exploring their insecurities and sexual frustrations with one another. What makes people come back to Family Guy isn't the fact it's Family Guy. It is Peter. It is Lois. It is Brian. It is Stewie. We want to see stories about them, and they're starting to get it. It 100% feels like they're moving in the right direction. Again, I'd say 2/3 of the season are genuinely good episodes. Some of the strongest stuff I've seen in a while from Family Guy, and I'm really excited to see that there is more of a grounded character focus going forward. That being said, the reasons why Family Guy is Family Guy and has the reputation for, not being that quality of television definitely shows in the ugly side of this season. I cannot believe Phony Montana was made, okay? And high school history, just a lot of decisions, Manifest Destiny, there was just a lot of dumb premises for episodes. And the worst premises for episodes, again, had nothing to do with the family, any of their personality traits. It was a situation or circumstances that should just be funny, and the characters are in them, whether they're themselves or versions of themselves. They weren't driving the boat was driving them. And I think Family Guy's at its best when its characters are driving the boat. So with all that being said, here are my final rankings for the season. I hope with the context I just kind of explained, where I ranked each episode makes sense. If you disagree, if you want to talk about it, I'd love to engage in a dialogue about what works for you, what doesn't about this show. And yeah, I know they got a Stewie spinoff coming out. I think like a Stewie is Miss Frizzle on the Magic School Bus kind of that's something. And I assume that the mainline show isn't going to stop anytime soon. So I guess we'll just have to see if they're cooking with gas or if they're cooking with trash. But anyway, that's been me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit some buttons. I'm really trying to not do the whole life thing. So if you could help me to just stay digitally online and chronically online on my computer, I'd really appreciate it. But if not, I mean, whatever. Yeah, free will, I guess. Yeah, cheers, bye, deuces.
Peter, why are you still watching the video, Peter? Peter the horse is here, and he wants you to subscribe, Peter. Hit the subscribe button, Peter. You know you wanna. Hit the button, Peter.